I'm Michael Lafosse from the Origami studio, and this is my Canard cruiser, sort of a space-age looking thing. These are the Canards. It also features my fuselage lock, and this is best folded from an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. I'm going to be using Origami paper, which is colored white on the other side to help you keep track of which side is up. Remember, you can always use pause and play and rewind to be able to review any part of this lesson. Begin by folding in half, long edge to long edge, with the white on the outside if you're using Origami paper, and open. Flatten the crease and turn the paper so the crease runs vertically. We're now going to take the bottom left and right corners and one at a time fold them to meet at the center crease, making a standard paper airplane point. And there we have it. We're going to take this square corner and bring it right up to touch the middle of the top edge. Now we're going to turn the paper over. Keep the folded edge at the bottom as you turn the paper over from left to right. We're going to now take these new right and left corners and fold them to meet at the center crease, like this. Let's return those back to the bottom and turn the paper over bottom edge to top. So this folded edge is at the top now. We're going to put some pre-creases in, which is fold and unfold, so we can have a creasing structure for a more complex maneuver in a moment. We're going to take this angled folded edge and bring it up to match the top folded edge. As we do that, we're going to let this triangle flap come out from underneath. Now we can match the edges and fold all the way along. Let's replace this and, in fact, of course, replace the triangle flap underneath. We need to do the same thing with the left edge. It's the same trick. And let the flap come out as you match the folded edges together, like this, and return it to its original place. Now we're simply going to take the back flap and bring it up. Our next set of pre-creases will involve taking these sloping folded edges, and one at a time we're going to bring them to match the vertical center crease. We're not going to fold all the way across. We're going to fold from the nose end of the plane, like this, right up to this horizontal crease line level, which would be right about there. You can return that, and we're going to do the same thing on the left side. Remember, only up to about the level of this horizontal crease. And unfold. Now the pre-creasing is done, and we can do that complex three-dimensional step. It begins by activating these two valley creases, like this, and bringing those layers together. When you do that, let the square corners of these triangle flaps come out from underneath as we hold onto the paper this way. We can now put the paper against the table, and what you have here is this almost pyramid, half pyramid shape standing tall. We're going to push the sides in and continue pushing in and flattening down to the table. You'll see that these side flaps will take their place, and a tall isosceles triangle will form in the middle. All that pre-creasing helped to make that possible. We're now going to use the horizontal crease and mount and fold the paper behind. And our final development for this stage is to use these valley creases to bring these flaps back over. Now what we've done is organized a lot of potential here. We have flaps here for canards, we have some main wing flaps, we have some other hind wing flaps, and lots of layers to work through. We're going to begin by taking these cut edges and folding them to the vertical split like this. and then unfold. The purpose of those two creases were to actually place crease ends at these edge points here and here. And that's so that we will know where to fold this bottom flap up to. Look how I'm keeping this centered, the corner centered, while I guide the folded edge to span the distance between those two crease ends. The geometry of this is actually pretty nice, because what we can do now is to lock these flaps in place. If I use the existing crease to bring this corner over, that triangle flap can now get tucked into that little pocket there. Let's do the same thing on the other side. The square corner goes into the pocket and the flaps are locked. These will be the canards. Next, we're going to bring the wings out, and it's actually more comfortable to do it with the paper this way. So you can rotate the paper into this position, and we're going to take one wing flap at a time and fold it straight out. The level that you're going to fold it straight out to is to where this V-notch is. So as you can see, I've brought this paper out, and the top edge of this right isosceles triangle should travel right through that little V-notch there. That's a pre-crease, so it's fold, unfold. Let's do the same thing for the other side. These are pre-creases for inside reverse folding. To develop the wings further, what we're going to do is to open to the lowest level pocket. That's this pocket down here. And then we're going to push that paper through using this valley crease as a guide, and continuing until the layers turn inside out, so that we have a locked shape below the layers there. So now that front edge of the wing is secure. Let's do the same thing on the other side. You open the largest lower level pocket, bring the flap across, use the existing creases in the paper to be able to place the geometry correctly. We're going to turn the paper over to the other side, ensuring that the longest edge is at the bottom. And we're going to put in a nice long elevon, a big elevator flap down here, taking these two bottom square corners and bringing them up to the level of the obtuse corners, like this. And unfold. So now we have a nice big elevon, a big elevator flap. We're going to install the fuselage lock. Look carefully and see if you can notice creases in your paper that outline part of a very long, shallow triangle. These two creases here. The base of that triangle is the long, free edge of the paper there. You're going to use those creases as a guide to be able to install the fuselage lock. So you see we're deflecting this edge up. The paper is folding along those creases, and now we can bring the two halves of the plane together. Now we can separate the wings from the fuselage. I want you to notice this straight edge here between the front canard and this other wing extension here. This edge is going to come down to match the bottom edge of the fuselage. Like that. That sets the wing angle. You can experiment with other wing angles, but this is what your paper should look like. Let's go ahead and flip the paper over to the other side so we can match the other wing, folding it overall against the table. Set the wings straight out. It's always a good idea to take a moment to sharpen or refresh any folding and make sure that lumps and bumps are pretty well squared away. Now we can turn the paper over right side up, and here it is, the Canard Cruiser. A great flying model, really. Good for stunts as well if you adjust these big elevator flaps up a little more. Hold the paper about here and launch in a standard dart throwing way.